Good morning, students. Today we are going to learn Chapter 15, Insurance. Learning objectives. To learn the concept of insurance, to understand the meaning and principles of insurance and its types, to know the various risks in business, to know the legal protection through IRDA. Underlying concept. The underlying concept of insurance are the losses of many are shared by a few. Principle of cooperation. So cooperation is a basic principle behind every insurance contract. Uncertainty is inherent in human life. Uncertainty, that is unpredictability. It is permanent in every human life. A financial protection against uncertainty. So financial protection, that is insurance, gives compensation for the losses against the uncertainty. Distribution of risk among a group of people. So the basic concept, the insurance concept, it was started to distribute the risk among the group of people. So these are the underlying concept of insurance. Introduction. Uncertainty is inherent in human life. So as I told you already, unpredictability, uncertainty, it is permanent in every human life. Exposure to risk, fire, theft, accident, transfer of the risk to specialized institutions like insurance companies, substituting uncertainty to providing financial compensation, socialization of risk. Insurance companies indemnify the loss of the risk. So every business, if you take, there are different types of risk. For example, fire, theft, accident, and so on. So some of the risk, they are transferred to specialized institutions. For example, insurance companies. So these companies, they provide financial compensation for the risk, and these companies indemnify the loss of the insured, that is, they compensate the loss. Meaning and definition of insurance. It is a contract between insurer and insured. The insurer undertakes to compensate the insured for the loss arising from the risk insured against. So insurance, it is a contract between the insurer and the insured, under which the insurer agrees to compensate or undertakes to compensate the insured for the loss arising from the risk. And here the insured has to pay a considerable premium regularly. It may be monthly or quarterly or half yearly or annually. So who is called insured and who is called as insurer? So insured, he is a person whose risks are insured, and insurer, the person who agrees to compensate the loss arising from the risk. So here insurance means providing compensation against loss caused either by nature or man-made factors. The next topic we are going to see is principles of insurance. So already I have told you the basic concept behind this insurance is cooperation. Yes, there should be a cooperation between the insured and the insurer. So the first principle is utmost good faith. So according to this principle, both the insurer and the insured should enter into contract in good faith. Insured should provide all the information that impacts the subject matter. Insurer, he should provide all the details regarding insurance contract. So you can here give an example of an heart patient with the LIC while taking an LIC policy. So here what this principle states, that is the insurer as well as the insured, they should have good faith on each other. So here for example, you can take a person, Ramesh. He is a heart patient. So while taking a life insurance policy, he should not hide that he is a heart patient. But what happens is, this Ramesh, he hides the fact that he is a heart patient. So what happens is, on his death due to heart attack, LIC refuses to pay the compensation to his legal representative. This is because he has hidden the material fact that he is a heart patient. So there must be a good faith between the insurer as well as the insured. So this is the first principle. The next principle is insurable interest. Insured must have insurable interest in the subject matter of insurance. That is, some pecuniary interest in the subject matter of insurance contract is needed. The insured must have an interest in the preservation of the thing or life insured so that they will suffer financially on the happening of the event against which they are insured. So what the insured have to do is, he should have interest on the subject matter, that is what he has insured. For example, you can take a businessman who insures the stock of goods. So here the businessman has insurable interest in his stock of goods. The next principle is indemnity. Indemnity means security or compensation against loss or damages. So in insurance, if you take the insured, he is compensated with the amount equivalent to the actual loss and not exceeding the amount. Okay, that is exceeding the loss amount. This principle, it also ensures that the insured does not make any profit out of the insurance. So he cannot make any profit because of these insurance. And this principle of indemnity, it is applicable to property insurance alone and not to life insurance. That is, one cannot estimate the loss due to the death of a person. So the principle of indemnity is not applicable to life insurance. So here we can give an example. Take a businessman. He insures his stock of goods for 5 lakhs and the goods are destroyed due to fire. So the insurance company, if you take, will be liable to pay compensation for the loss caused to the insured. So here the maximum compensation will be rupees 5 lakhs, and even though if the loss is more, then also the maximum compensation will be rupees 5 lakhs only. The next principle, causa proxima. So the word causa proxima means nearest cause, that is the direct cause for the loss. So according to this principle, if you take, when there is a loss which is as a result of two or more cause, so here the proximate cause, that is the direct cause, is taken into consideration. That is the most dominant, direct and most effective cause for the loss is considered here. So the insurance company is not liable for the remote cause. So here, for example, in the previous principle we have seen in indemnity, a businessman, what he does, he insures a stock for 5 lakhs, and in that case what happens, there is a loss because of fire. So here we can take the same example. So if the loss is due to fire, the insurance company is liable to pay the compensation. But if there is no fire and the goods are destroyed due to excessive heat, then the insurance company would not be liable to pay the compensation. So, according to this principle, the cause, that is the reason for the loss, must be direct. It should be effective cause and the most dominant cause for the loss. Next principle is contribution. So according to this principle, insured insures the same subject matter with more than one insurer. Then it is known as double insurance. So here the insurance claim to be paid to the insured must be shared on the contributed by all insurers in proportion to the sum assured by each one of them. So here in this multiple insurance, the insurers can claim from any of the insurers. Whatever the loss arises, he can claim from any of the insurance company. But he cannot recover more than the amount of actual loss. For example, this you can understand with an example. A businessman, he gets his factory insured against fire for 10 lakhs with the insurance company A, and the same factory he is insuring it at 5 lakh with insurance company B. So what happens is, due to fire there is a loss of 1,50,000. So the insurers A and B, how they contribute to the loss, that is, they contribute to the loss in the ratio of 2:1. So here the insurance company A will pay 1 lakh and the insurance company B will pay 50,000. So both the insurers combined together, they pay the actual loss, and the insured cannot recover more than the amount of actual loss. Next principle we are going to see is subrogation. Subrogation means stepping the shoes on others, or you can simply say the transfer of rights. So according to this principle, once the claim of the insured has been settled, the ownership right of the subject matter, that is the stock of goods, so of the insurance, passes on to the insurer, that is the insurance company. The rights passes on to the insurance company. So here, for example, you can see Mr. Bhaskar, he gets his motor car insured. So due to a road accident, some of the parts gets damaged. He gets the insurance claim and he gets the damaged parts replaced with new ones. So in this case, what happens is, the damaged parts will be taken by the insurance company. The insured has no right over the damaged parts, since they have already got the compensation for the damaged parts. So this is called as what? Subrogation, transfer of rights. The last principle is mitigation, meaning to reduce, that is to reduce the risk. So in case of any accident, the insured must take all possible steps to reduce the loss or damage to the property which is being insured. So this principle ensures that the insured should not be negligent, should not neglect the safety of the subject matter, that is the property for which he has taken the insurance policy. So the insured is expected to take care of the insured property. So if he fails to do so, if there is any loss, the insured may not get the full compensation from the insurer. So for example, when a factory is insured against fire and theft by the insured, so insured must take care, or he must take all possible precautions, steps to prevent those, that is the goods or property, whatever it is, from the risk. So this is called as mitigation. That is how to reduce the loss or damage. So the responsibility is with the insured. The next topic we are going to see is types of insurance. So the insurance can be broadly divided into two. One is life insurance or life assurance, and the second one is non-life insurance or general insurance. First we'll see about life insurance. So what is meant by life insurance? So it is a contract in which the insurance company, so insurance company, already I have told you, it is called as insurer. So it undertakes to insure the life of a person called assured. Assured or insured. The person is called as assured or insured in exchange of a sum of money called premium. That is, this premium amount, that sum of amount is paid one lump sum. That is, in one payment it is paid, or it is paid monthly, or it is paid quarterly, half yearly, or annually. So, and here the insurer promises to pay a sum of money, certain sum of money, either on the death of the assured or on expiry of the certain period. So this insurance policy money, the assured will get either on the death of the assured or on the expiry of the certain period. So this is called as life insurance. Next, importance of life insurance. The first one is it provides protection to the family at premature death of an individual. So life insurance policy, it helps the family when there is a premature death of an individual. Next, it gives adequate amount at an old age when earning capacities are reduced. So at the old age, when the income comes less, so this life insurance, it helps the family. Next, life insurance is not only a protection, but it is a sort of investment. So how it is an investment? Because a sum of money by the end of the expiry period, or at the time of the death of the assured, the family receives a sum of money. That is the insurance company, they return a sum of money which is helpful for the family. Or if it is the expiry of certain period, the assured gets the amount. So these are the importance of life insurance. Next, types of life insurance policies. So some of the life insurance policies are whole life policy, endowment life assurance policy, joint life policy, annuity policy, and the next one is children's endowment policy. We'll see one by one. Whole life policy. So in this policy, the sum assured is payable only on the death of the assured to the heir of the deceased. So here, when the assured dies, the amount is paid to the legal heir or to the nominee. Here the premium is paid for a fixed period, 20 to 30 years, for the whole life of the assured. And if the premium is payable for a fixed period, then the policy will continue till the death of the assured. Next one is endowment life assurance policy. So under this type of policy, the insurer, that is the insurance company, undertakes to pay the assured a specified amount on the attainment of the particular age or on his death. So here, if the assured dies, then the amount is payable to the legal heir or to the nominee. Otherwise, the amount is paid to the assured after the attainment of the particular age. The next kind of policy we are going to see is joint life policy. So under this policy, the policy is taken jointly. That is, two or more persons, they take up the policy jointly. So it is called as joint life policy. So on the death of any one person, the policy money is given to the other person, and premium is also paid jointly in this joint life policy. So mostly this type of policy is taken by husband and wife or by two partners in a partnership firm. The next type of policy is annuity policy. And in this policy, the assured sum or policy money is payable in monthly or annual installment after the assured attains a certain age. So here the premium is paid, that is annually, that is whole amount is paid, or the premium is also paid in installment. So mostly this type of policy is taken by people who require a regular income after a certain age, that too at the old age also, you can say. Next kind of policy is children's endowment policy. So this policy is taken for providing money for education as well as marriage of children. And for example, Jeevan Anurag policy. And in this policy, the amount is payable by the insurance company when the children attains a particular age. So here the premium is paid by the person who enters into the contract. When he or she dies, no premium is paid. Students, in this video, we have learnt about what is meant by insurance, what are the principles of insurance, and what is meant by life insurance, its importance, and the different types of life insurance policies. And in the next video, we will learn about non-life insurance. Thank you, students.